how beneficial has this time been? What have you learned in between game 1 to now that's going to help you here in game 2?
We got a process for how we process a game, win or lose, and then we went through that. So we take the things that we like and we'll identify those we want to make sure we're good at. There's a bunch of things that we didn't care for, so we looked at those yesterday. We'll be reminded of that before the game tonight. And then you have to learn and you have to grow. Each series is different. Our team is different than last year, so is Boston. The overall general style of the game is pretty consistent. There haven't been major changes in philosophies, as I can tell from them, or certainly from us. So, tighter game. I never like saying we have our chances. It's not. We give up too many even straight goals in that game to realistically have a chance to win, and that'll have to be a part of our focus.
Sam Bennett not out there today.
No.
What, anything new or?
No, he didn't skate today, but he's not far off, so I expect him on the road trip.
I don't know, maybe we make too much of it, but do you think rust was a factor in game 1? We saw Colorado maybe get off to a bit of a slow start.
No, I liked their first 10 minutes, right? The Colorado game, I mean, you have to be in the room to understand it, to feel it, but it's 1-0 for the good guys with 8 minutes left to go in the second period. Are we dominant? No, but I wouldn't expect us to be. I wouldn't expect them to be 110 to 109 points. Right. I don't think one team dominates the other. I liked our start. I didn't like what happened after. But even in that, we spent more time in their end than they spent in ours. There's certainly a score-adjusted effect after it gets to 3-1. We're going to open up our game a little bit more in the third, so you got to be careful. Hey, that's why we had our chances. Yeah, who cares? Right? So we had some chances. They had chances too. We gave up 3 breakaways. Bob got 2 of them. We got in alone a few times as well, tight plays we didn't finish on. So those are kind of a wash. What you want to do is you want to play as close to the game that you think you should look like. You want to look the way you should, and after that it's just players, right? The guys in suits don't matter. So we get a little closer to the way I think we can get closer to the way we should look.
Did the third power play give you some confidence from that, just the way you moved the puck better on that?
Yeah, the first one we were slow on entries. Yeah. And then we get into the second period. We do get Barkov in alone off a rush, and at the same time we had Rodriguez down the pipe kind of off a rush. I think I fully understand the general concept of the penalty kill being a major issue because they're, whatever they are, almost lights out going back to the Toronto series. We didn't score a lot of them during this year, but it was a non-factor in how we play. We were 0-for-3, they were 0-for-2. Our penalty kill was good, their penalty kill was good. It's zeros. So it can't continue, but I don't think it can continue for either team. I don't think anybody runs zeros in this series and has success. So we had chances, they had some chances. 5-on-5 is what we're good at and we need to be good at.
I'm sure Aaron Ekblad didn't like his game, parts of it, whatever, in game 1. What do you expect from him tonight?
I expect him to be really good. He was very, very good in the Tampa series for his gap closures, and we truly missed him. In the back half of the year, he got hurt there. I think in the Calgary game, played 1 or 2 more games for us, but we missed him for about 6-8 weeks there. And you could tell, I mean, you could see it in our record. He had a tough night. He wasn't alone in it in certain things, but it was obvious. I expect him to be great tonight.
And going back to them, last year in the playoffs, even though he was playing through 3 different things, I think people forget how good he was in last year's postseason.
Yeah. Well, we're in playoff mode, and so are you guys. This is not a condemnation or something. We need you to be, because you got to make this as exciting as you possibly can, or we're going to be holding this in outdoor rinks and nobody's going to come. So it's extremes, right? A goalie gets a shutout, my lord, 10-year deal. Players -3. He's not making the team next year. So, but that's what this is all about. That's why the juice is way better in playoffs than any other time. That's what this is good at. So he had a tough night. I expect him to be great tonight. The extremes of it I understand. I don't feel extreme right now.
What do you guys need to do better to kind of handle that Boston forecheck? It seemed like they were kind of getting to you guys and forcing you to make bad decisions.
I think it was early in terms of the forecheck that created some time, but I think we're 8 minutes over on pure puck in zone time, and we're 3 minutes over them on pure possession time. Our possession time numbers were good, theirs were low. Part of that is that we fed a couple of pizzas up and they were in the back of the net. There wasn't a lot of zone time on those. We touched it, gave it to them, they scored. So, but your question is right. We want to control the pucks better, that we don't break out. So you're not going back and getting it out, neither are they. We're an elite forechecking team. But on the ones that you don't get out that turn into scrums, you can't have chaos all that. So that would be the area. Be better in control when we don't break a puck out.
And Ryan Lomberg, he's healthy.
Good to go.
Good to go.
I really liked, and the reason I don't feel this early in this series you're looking from, I liked our fourth line. I like the way they played. I had concerns on other players, but those guys, their zone time was right, their physicality was right. They were good.
You know, Poso's been
He was good.
heavy
And that line scored 2 goals in the Tampa series in a game that won us a game on that. So it's always kind of like the fourth line guys and the 5-6 guys that get kind of jacked in and out when you're looking for an adjustment. I got another guy, I think Bennett comes in for an adjustment for us at some point here. Game 3 or game 4, we'll make adjustments if we have to on health. Ryan's going to get back in. I really believe that. I just didn't think there was anything on that fourth line that was a negative for us in terms of zone times. So I liked it.
With Okposo, I mean, whether he becomes an adjustment at some point, what has he brought to your team in terms of being a pro, and how much respect have you had for him?
All kinds of it, and that's it. What has he brought? He's a pro at all levels. So there's a little Eric Stahl in this, right? You got a guy that's played on the number 1 line, played on the power play, been a captain, and Kyle has been all that. And now he shifts down to the fourth line, and I think in his mind he said he'd been kind of accepting that role and moving into it over the last couple of years. So now he's accepted that role, but he's still. I mean, every guy in that room's played against him over the years. He's got some close friends off the ice in the room. He has a tremendous amount of respect. So what we encourage him is, play the game, prep your game and all that, but don't sit on the bench as a fourth liner when you were brought in for all those other things as well. Lots of talk, lots of communication with other players. So he's moved into the room like he's been here forever kind of thing.
Thank you. Thanks everyone.
Okay.
Thanks, Coach. Thank you.